Sophia Hart's Audi sputtered and coughed before giving up entirely on the shoulder of Interstate 95. A thin curl of smoke wafted from under the hood, rising like a silent flare. She clenched the steering wheel, knuckles white. The rhythmic whoosh of morning traffic passed her by in a blur of indifference. Horns blared. Engines roared. But none of it mattered, because her engine was dead, and her career might be next. She glanced at the dashboard clock. 8:42 a.m. Her presentation at Beacon Automotive's board meeting was in less than 20 minutes. Months of work had gone into this. Countless late nights, gallons of coffee, 100 versions of her proposal. It wasn't just about pitching a new recruitment initiative. This was about securing a future for Beacon, attracting fresh engineering talent in a rapidly evolving market. And for Sophia, it was about proving herself, about making it into the inner circle where real decisions were made. If she missed this meeting, all of it, her promotion, her credibility, her future, could dissolve. She pulled out her phone and called roadside assistance. A polite but weary voice informed her a tow truck would arrive in about an hour. She hung up and leaned back against the seat. 60 minutes might as well be forever. A wave of helplessness swelled in her chest. The leather seat groaned as she shifted. She loosened the silk scarf at her neck, the one she wore to project calm confidence, and let it fall onto the passenger seat. Her hands trembled slightly. She felt utterly exposed. A woman used to precision and planning, now stranded in chaos. She considered calling her assistant Meredith. Maybe Meredith could stall them. Maybe someone else could present the slides. But Sophia had sworn never to be the kind of leader who leaned on others in a crisis. She'd promised herself she'd always be the one who showed up. As she stared out at the endless line of speeding vehicles, she whispered under her breath, "Not today. Please, not today." Just then, the low rumble of tires on gravel interrupted her spiral. A shadow passed behind her car. In her rearview mirror, she saw a faded red pickup, an older Toyota Tacoma, pull to a careful stop. The driver stepped out slowly. He wore scuffed jeans and a soft plaid shirt rolled up at the sleeves. His boots were dusty. His hair tousled. He had a kind of grounded presence, like someone who didn't rush unless there was fire involved. He didn't approach quickly. He seemed to give her time. Space. He stopped a few feet from her door and lifted a hand in a cautious wave. "Morning, ma'am," he said, voice low with a warm Carolina drawl. "You all right? Looks like your car gave out." Sophia hesitated. City instincts told her to be wary, but there was something about his voice, gentle, unassuming. She cracked the window halfway. "It just died," she said. "I called for a tow. They're an hour out." He gave a single nod. "Mind if I take a look?" "Name's Marcus. I've worked on more engines than I can count." Could be something simple. Sophia studied him. He didn't flinch under her gaze. There was no hint of pressure in his tone. Just a quiet offer. She unlocked the door and stepped out. The autumn breeze hit her skin. She crossed her arms tightly. "I'm Sophia," she said. "I have an important meeting. If there's any way to fix it quickly." Marcus offered a small smile. "Let's see what we're working with." He popped the hood and bent over the engine with practiced ease. Steam hissed. He didn't recoil, just grabbed a rag from the truck and began inspecting. His hands moved like they had a language of their own, decoding, translating, fixing. Sophia watched him, transfixed. She had grown up in a world of engineers, gone to MIT, worked with men and women in labs wearing white coats and safety goggles. But Marcus was different. There were no diagnostics, no fancy tools, just intuition and grease-stained fingers. "You really know what you're doing," she said. Marcus chuckled. "Started when I was 14. Used to rebuild bikes from junkyard scraps. Worked my way up to cars, trucks, tractors, even one old plane engine once." Time blurred. She handed him tools from the back of his truck. He instructed gently, never rushed. With each moment, her panic melted into something else. Trust, maybe. After nearly 2 hours, he straightened up, wiped his forehead, and nodded. "Try now." Sophia slid into the seat and turned the key. The engine hummed to life. Strong. Steady. She stared at the dashboard in stunned relief. She jumped out of the car. "You saved me. Seriously. Let me pay you. Something. Anything." He raised his hand. "It's all right. I was glad to help. No, that was nearly 2 hours of your morning. She pulled out her wallet. He hesitated, then admitted with a grin, well, I did skip breakfast, and I've got to pick up my daughter soon. Sophia blinked, then rummaged through her bag. She pulled out a carefully wrapped sandwich, whole grain bread with turkey, arugula, and cranberry chutney. She handed it to him. It's all I've got. Marcus accepted it like she'd handed him a golden trophy. Best trade I've made all week. Sophia smiled. Thank you again. If you ever need something, seriously, anything, call me. She handed him a business card. Beacon Automotive. He tucked it into his pocket. You better get going. Wouldn't want to be late. Sophia nodded and got into her car. As she merged back onto 95, she checked her mirror. Marcus was still there, eating the sandwich, watching her go. The board meeting was delayed just enough for her to walk in minutes before her slot. Her assistant had covered beautifully. The presentation went well, better than expected. Her plan passed unanimously. But even as congratulations swirled around her, she kept thinking about the man with grease on his hands and kindness in his eyes. That night, curiosity tugged at her. She searched his name online. It took time. Marcus Reed wasn't exactly uncommon, but she eventually found a local registry in Darlington. From there, it led to an article buried in an online community newspaper. Local engineer leaves high-paying job to raise daughter after tragic loss. Marcus had been a lead mechanical engineer at Summit Dynamics. Patents, conferences, prestigious journal articles. Then 3 years ago, his wife had passed from a sudden illness. He left everything behind to raise their daughter, Emily. Sophia stared at the article photo. Marcus holding a little girl with a ponytail, both smiling softly. Not staged, not for PR, just real. She stared at it for a long time. The next morning, she found herself driving through the tree-lined streets of Darlington. She found the modest duplex. Bikes on the porch. Wind chimes tinkling. She knocked. Emily opened a door, wide-eyed and curious. Daddy, she called. Marcus appeared. Surprised. Miss Hart. Sophia, please. He opened the screen door, clearly puzzled but polite. I did some reading, she admitted. Beacon's hiring. We're launching a flexible remote work initiative. You wouldn't have to give up your time with Emily. Marcus looked uncertain. That world is different. I don't know if I fit anymore. You do, she said. We need someone like you. Emily tugged his sleeve. Daddy, would you get to build cool stuff again? He looked down at her, then back at Sophia. All right, he said softly. One interview. 3 days later, he stood in Beacon Automotive's headquarters. Nervous, out of place. Until he was in the room, marker in hand, sketching battery cooling systems on a whiteboard. The fire returned to his eyes. He left with an offer. A week after that, he accepted. Emily cheered. And Sophia? She stopped by often. First to help with HR paperwork. Then with school pickup when Marcus had meetings. Then, just because. Over time, they grew into something more. Emily adored her. Marcus couldn't stop smiling when she was around. On weekend, they made pancakes and wraps. Because, as Emily said, sandwiches are our lucky charm. 1 year later, Beacon unveiled its most advanced electric vehicle ever, powered by the battery Marcus had designed. And in the front row, a little girl beamed while her father shook hands with the CEO. Sophia stood beside her, their hands linked. Their eyes met. A glance that said, we made it. It all started with a dead engine. And a sandwich. Sometimes, the smallest kindness changes everything.